Ignition sequence start. 3, 2, 1.
Houston, we have a problem.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue.
What you're seeing here is a mirage.
What is going on, everybody? It's Jeran from jeranism, and my voice sounds, I cannot stand it. My new microphone or my new mixer is driving me crazy, but I'm going to deal with it. Hopefully it sounds good to you guys, or at least decent. We will see. We've got a great show for you. It was supposed to be Pitch Lumen against Brenda in a debate, but Pitch Lumen had something come up last second, so I decided, you know what, I'll just step in and I will take his spot. So am I prepared? Not fully, but we will at least attempt to show you how these shows should go, the layout, the structure. And let's bring on my debate partner here, and that is Brenda Debates. Brenda, welcome to the show.
Good evening.
Let me make sure people can hear you. And I'm going to check the chat. Somebody in the chat, please tell me, make sure that we're both audible. Just give me that much at least, and then we'll go from there. Brenda, you can tell everybody about yourself if you want.
My name is Brenda, and I've been in the debate flat earth community for several years, since 2016 at least, maybe before, I don't know. I debate flat earth. I also participate in debates on politics and philosophy and religion. I attend classes at the University of Minnesota as a senior student, non-degree seeking, and I just have a rather ordinary life otherwise.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you for being here for the debate. We do appreciate it. I'm going to show you guys how you can join the debate if you want to as well, which is to go to jeranism.com/debate. Let me see if I can get this up for you. It's close enough. We'll go like that. And let me bring it up on my screen just so you can see where we're at here. This one, there we go. So if you go to jeranism.com/debate, you'll see this page, which is just debatism. It's got a couple Q&As there, but then there's a form down here at the bottom. And I'm going to show you the layout first, but then I'll just show you. Whereas if you click next, you're going to start being asked questions as to if you want to debate, whether you're ready, your primary contact, if you have an opponent already, what's your topic, and then whether you can be here on Tuesday nights at 6. So that's what you get when you go there, and you can fill that out if you're interested in debating. But I just want to show you the layout. It's changed a little bit from last week. It will be changing until I find something that I think works well. So this week, each debater will get one 2-minute warning card. There's nothing physical here. There's just, at any point, if she wanted to, Brenda could reach out and say, time out, I want my 2-minute warning. And what that means is I have to be on mute, and she gets 2 minutes of the floor for herself. This could be used at any time or not used at all. So we each get one of those. We also may ask for an additional full minute at any time, up to twice, sorry. So if we want, at the end of a question session or something, we need something clarified, we can ask for an additional minute twice. So we're going to do the welcome, which is what we're in the middle of now. We're going to do a coin toss, which we'll do here in a second. We'll have an intro where each person will give a 2-minute intro followed by a 1-minute response. We'll then go to 3 questions. She has 3 questions for me. I have 3 questions for her. It'll be 1-minute question, 1-minute answer. And then we've got the claim section, which has changed from last time. Last time it was called topics. And I noticed that we could talk about the, price of gas if we wanted to. It didn't seem like it was a good description of what I'm looking for in those. So I changed it to claims, and we changed the number to 4. So Brenda tonight has 4 claims she's going to make, backed by evidence. I have 4 claims I'm going to make, backed by evidence. We each have 2 minutes to present that, followed by a 1-minute response and then a 1-minute final word on that for each of us. So that's basically it. The conclusion will take about 5 minutes, 2 minutes each, and then we'll take super chat questions. If you want to super chat in a question, you can, or you can use Rockfin tips, or you can use Cash App $Jeranism. Any of those will work to get your question asked. All right, so that's basically the format. Let's go ahead and get ready for the coin toss. And Brenda, you being the guest here, I will let you call it. Let me see if my screen is up for that. Yes, so when you say go, I'll flip it and then you call it, okay? We've got this one here, and here we go. So heads or tails, and call it.
Heads.
And it is heads, so you get to choose whether you want to go first or second.
You can go first.
Oh, thank you. It's so kind of you. Okay, so we're going to start with a 2-minute clock, and let me make sure all of our clocks are working. 2 minutes. There we go. Clock's on. All right, great. So I will start with, and these are not meant to be, filled with evidence. It's just more of a laying out of your position, why you're here, what you think, people should get out of it. Because I've given up on the idea of some people will never see things the way you do, but for me, this is about. Oh, I guess I can talk about that in my speech, not now. All right, let's get started, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Debatism. There is no intro yet for this show. There will be soon, but not yet. So let's get rolling. So personally, I think that these debates are becoming kind of ridiculous because I think Globers can't retract. I don't think that they can agree when evidence is unsound, even if they're shown clearly. So I now turn my direction towards the audience because I think that I can no longer even slightly expect the opposing side to ever get it, but I can get people that are on the fence to weigh the options and decide which one better fits their worldview. To me, the Earth is not a spinning, gyrating, water-covered, mostly molten rock traveling 1.2 million miles per hour as we orbit around the Great Attractor, which has never been seen. As together with the Sun, we travel 480,000 miles per hour around the Milky Way galaxy, and that's through dark matter and dark energy, which has never been observed, as every year the stars return to where they were 1 year prior. Now, your own senses tell you that you are not moving. They tell you that the Sun is close and small, the stars are close, that we're not flying through space, but we're still and stationary on a level topographical plane. So when somebody comes along and they tell you something widely different than that, they have the burden of proof, not your everyday experience and senses. Skepticism is science. That's the definition of it. And yet science is no longer skeptical unless it's talking about religion, in which case they are skeptical. But anyone who thinks that science is the end all be all can answer if they think that love is real or hate is real, or appreciation is real or devotion, because none of those things are measured by science, and science claims to not be able to use them in tests or experiments. So since we can't use love, which we know exists, or hate, then science isn't all that there is. There's much more to life than that. But we are here debating a scientific topic. So in this case, I will present for you 4 claims today backed by evidence telling you that we don't live on a spinning water ball. Thank you very much. Ding. All right, you get a 1-minute response. This is not your opener. This is a 1-minute response to what I just said.
Oh, response to what you said.
If you have a response.
Yeah, you
Sure.
do not have the default position. We do not have the burden of proof. Both parties in any debate have the burden, share the burden of proof. If you claim that the Earth is flat, you have to prove it. We do not, there's no default position of the Earth being flat. Your senses can deceive you, and so you can't always rely on your senses. It is better to use instruments to tell what something is doing rather than your senses, because they can be wrong. You could be wrong, I could be wrong, other people can be wrong. So science isn't skepticism. Science is a systematic method for testing the universe, and it is a way of investigating and determining what facts are. Facts are things that exist outside of us. One thing I see a lot of.
Okay, it's time.
Okay.
You got your 2 minutes.
Cool.
When you are, unless you want your extra minute, you have 2 of those to use.
Now, do I do an intro? Is
Yep.
that how it goes?
Now you do your intro when you are. Hold on,
Okay.
I gotta get out of here.
Yeah, I'm ready to do the intro.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm Brenda, and I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I enjoy doing this. I enjoy debating, simply for debating, and I learn a lot. I have learned a lot from Flat Earth. It has motivated me to look into why people get things wrong, what exactly they got wrong, and to figure it out. And in the process of that, I've learned a lot of things that I ordinarily wouldn't have. It's served as motivation. I think it's part of the reason I started taking classes at the University of Minnesota is it motivated me to go back to school, even though it's not for a degree. We have a program here in Minnesota that allows me to do that at a reduced cost. I, I, I think people can be convinced, and they can be convinced if they are willing to accept that the truth of an argument. Arguments can be either true or false, and if the argument is true and it shows that you are wrong, you should admit it. You should change your view. But people often don't, because they are emotionally invested. Most of the people in Flat Earth are religious extremists, even more to the right than religious fundamentalists. They believe in a literal snow dome. So the extremism and also the conspiracy theories, I think, are thought errors that lead people down a wrong path. I think people can be convinced that they are wrong. People have left Flat Earth. They typically do that once they are able to sort of extricate themselves from the community, so that they don't suffer from the abuse that the community will heap on them for not towing the line of the dogma and the orthodoxy.
Okay, your time.
That is.
I let you go over. So, okay. So my response to that in just a minute is, sorry, I can do all these things at once usually, but not really. Where is there? Oh, a minute. So my response to that is that, yeah, people who leave the flat earth are usually shamed into doing so from somebody in the family, somebody like that. I don't think that very many people are reaching that conclusion on yourself. I only know of people that could never go back to the ball, because once you're kind of exposed to some of these systematic trickeries, and hearing quotes from cosmologists who tell you flat out that they choose their models philosophically and not based on observations, that you have every right to remove yourself from a belief system that was taught to you as a 3-year-old child or younger, and to demand the evidence that was pretended to be there. When you're taught the scientific method, followed by here's these things that are science, you're going to make the conclusion that things are gone through the scientific method. When you find out that they have not, you have every right to voice your concern. And humans in total should look at NASA and demand evidence, not turn on those saying that they're faking it and say, you guys are imbeciles and morons. All right. So we're going on to our question portion. This is where each of us we have 3 questions for each other. So you said you'd go second, right? So I'm going first. Okay. So my first question is, and there's a minute to ask and a minute to answer. My first question is something I've been meaning to ask for a while. It's something I want a short and digestible answer to. And that's, in my opinion, people have free speech. And so when they come on my show, for instance, when you come on my show and you call me names like a bigot, or you call me a grifter, or you call me a moron or a liar, I don't like that. But you know what can I do about it? I just take it on the chin, because that's the way you see me, and my job is to present a different side of myself so you don't see me that way. When it comes to your particular desire to be called a he or she, I don't understand the difference. So I don't get where you're allowed to come on my show and call me things I don't want to be called, but I'm not allowed to call you something you choose not to be called for whatever reason. So I want to ask you, what should take preference? The real world of free speech, where we can call each other whatever we want, or some world that you've created where we have to adhere to what you choose to be called? Because if that's the case, I'll be called king going forward, and you're a bigot if you disagree. Okay, you have a minute to answer.
Yeah, I don't think that's a false dichotomy. So I think that you should call transgenders by their preferred pronouns, because that's just part of being part of society, right? Free speech is only restricted to it restricts the government from preemptively censoring your speech. It has nothing to do with society, right? So you can use whatever epithets you wish or slurs that you wish, but then you have to deal with the consequences. And the consequences are that people get upset with you. And if you can't handle it, then don't do that. Right? It's as simple as that.
Okay, I'm going to ask for my additional minute here, just I shouldn't use this early, but I'm going to use it just because I don't think you were clear there. So again, the difference is that you say we should call you what you want to be called.
Yes.
Okay.
I think people in general.
Okay. So if I say
should
that
be
I'm
nice to each.
Yeah, I
should be
agree.
Nice to each other.
I agree.
Yeah.
So if I choose to be called king because I wake up every day and I feel like a king and I want to be addressed as your highness or your holiness, would you adhere to that and begin doing that?
Probably not. Probably not.
So why would I have to? Why? Because
it's not
of
the same. It's not the same thing.
how so?
It's just not the same. It's not your identity. It's just bullshit that you're making up.
So do you see where the other side says the same thing back at you?
No,
You don't
no,
see that.
They don't. No.
So you don't see that somebody could say they wake up feeling like a king, and who am I to say that they don't?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean that's
It's not the same. It's not
okay.
the same.
All right. Well, to me, people need to look at
I
that
know.
and see that
I
it is the same.
understand.
All right. So you got your question. Go ahead.
My question here is, what is the map of the flat Earth?
Oh yes, I remember this. So I don't know why you think that we need a map of the flat Earth, but it took 400 years, some 300 years, or 400 years for the best mathematicians and the best cartographers and to make the globe Earth map, if you will. And it took many, many expeditions paid for by monarchies, paid for by governments, paid for never by the individual. Captain Cook did not self-fund his expeditions. Neither did Wilkes or any of the other guys. Edmondson, Scott, these guys were all government people who were paid by governments, by tax money. So we will have a map the moment that I'm given any access to any tax money at all, or given access to any expedition reports. Captain Cook's report, it came back. It was 3 years later until it got published. What were they doing in the interim? I would love to see the original document. So we will have a map as soon as we're given the same leniency or the same time period and money that the globe Earth had. Until then, to expect the same level is ridiculous. Okay.
I don't think it's ridiculous at all. I think that if you believe the Earth is flat, you're obligated to come up with a map of it. And I don't think that California has moved in relation to Minnesota, right? I can use Rand McNally's map and find out how far it is to California and how long it would take me to, how many miles it would take to drive in my car to get there, right? You can't do the same thing. Why not?
Yeah, I could pretty much do the same thing if you're talking about individual continents.
No, you can't.
The continent of North America?
No, you can't. You can't tell me how far it is from Perth to Sydney, Australia.
I can. But
No,
you're saying
no,
I need to draw it on a map? I can't just give you the distances. I have to have a map drawn?
That's what maps are for.
Yeah, I get it.
Finding out the distances between things.
Correct. And sometimes you need expeditions. You need actual journeys to figure this stuff out. It can't just be done from your home, or else what do I have to use? Google Earth?
Yeah.
And then what am I using? I'm using your map to create my map. That's not going to work very well.
Well, I don't know why you can't use the data that's already been generated, because I don't think California has moved.
Okay, good. Let me go on to the second question here. My second question is, what are the percentage chances, in your opinion, that you're wrong? Are they 0%? Do you have, or 100%? What are the chances that we could be right about NASA faking things, the shape of the Earth not being as described, and there being some sort of a concerted effort to hide that?
Well, I think it's next to zero. It's near certainty. I think that the only possible way would be if I were to find out that I lived in a matrix or a computer simulation. But even in that simulation, or even in the matrix, the Earth is a globe. I mean, this is a fact that is not up to personal opinion. It's not a matter of opinion. It's objective.
Okay, is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I almost never say 100% certainty, except for maybe in mathematics. But outside of that, then things are degrees of confidence.
Okay. You are on your next question.
How does the flat Earth explain no change in the angular size of the sun during the day?
Okay, thank you. So there's numerous ways that it can be proposed, but one of them is with the idea of a personal atmospheric dome. People get very confused by this. They think we're talking about a glass dome or like some sort of physical dome. It's not. You can only see in the same direction, left to right, front and view and behind you. That is basically you're in a snow globe, like a half a snow globe. That's how we see everything. Look at the sky. Go outside and look at the sky, and you'll be like, oh yeah, it does look and the design is like a snow globe. And that's the distance that you can see in the furthest in every direction. The sun is something that appears to be projected into the Earth realm from outside the Earth realm. So to me, the sun is such a distance away, or it is at a place that is essentially the same distance for me at all times, from rising to setting. Now, when the sun sets or rises, it does have a delayed time there. The globe admits that. And that's something that we've discovered and shown, which can lead to the flat Earth realization when you realize that the sun is actually moving away and not moving around in a circle. Okay. Let's see, my next question for you. Oops, I started the same for me. Okay. So my next question is, will you retract the statement that you made on Sunday that Michelson Morley did not measure any fringe shift? Because they call this the world's most famous experiment. Sorry, I didn't start my clock.
Right.
They call this the world's famous failed experiment because they say it got a null result. But the null result was because they got a fringe shift less than the orbit of the Earth around the sun. So they call it a null result. But the truth is that he got a result every time. And the result was an average of 1/40th of the speed of the Earth around the sun, which 1/40th of 66,000 comes out to about 1,400 miles per hour, which is what a lot of people think you would measure the ether drift at. So when you say, no, he didn't measure anything, they measured 0, would you retract that, please?
No, I won't, because there was no observed fringe shift. The fringe shift is the change in the fringe that is observed in the interferometer, right? You see a fringe, the prediction is that there will be a change in the fringe. That's a fringe shift. They were the theory predicted a change of 30%. The instrument was capable of measuring 1/100th of a percent, and they saw nothing. They saw none. They saw no change in the fringe. Hence the null result.
Okay, I'll just show you this real quick on the screen. This is from Wikipedia, not from anything fancy. The experiments on the relative motion of the Earth and the ether have been completed and the work decidedly negative. The expected deviation of the interference fringes from the 0 should have been 0.4 and a maximum displacement of 0.2, and the average much less than 0.1, and then not in the right place. As displacement is proportional to the squares of the relative velocities, it follows that if the ether does slip past the relative velocity, it's less than 1/6 of the Earth's velocity. So you'll notice that what he's saying here is that they did receive shifts. They were supposed to get 0.4.
You see a fringe.
And then they saw it shift.
They did not see a fringe shift.
Then they wouldn't have noticed anything. If there's a fringe, then it's both at the same, and then there's a fringe shift, meaning it's off. The light going one direction is off versus the other direction. This is why they went to relativity. This is why Albertson,
Yes.
because they couldn't explain how there's all of a sudden there is fringe shift.
No, there wasn't a fringe shift.
That's what they're trying to do.
There's a fringe. There's a fringe, but there's not a fringe. There was no change in that fringe.
Okay. This just tells you right here, but since the displacement is proportional to the square of the velocity, then concluded that they measured velocity was probably less than 1/6. So if they measured a velocity probably less than 1/6, it's because they got a result of the expected velocity of the Earth's motion, certainly less than 1/4, although the small velocity was measured. So it's not a 0 if a small velocity was measured. It was
they weren't measuring the Earth's rotation around the sun.
No, but they were measuring the speed through the ether, which would have to equate to half the speed of the distance, or the speed around the sun.
So when they rotated the two arms of the interferometer are at 90 degrees to each other.
Correct.
You take one, you see a fringe, then you rotate it 90 degrees, and there was no change in the fringe, no fringe shift.
Okay, you need to look into that experiment. That's not how they did it.
I have.
Okay.
I have.
And you don't think that they measured anything, any speed at all?
They saw a fringe. They didn't see a change in the fringe.
I just read to you him saying that they did.
It's not what it says.
Although this small velocity was measured, is what it says. It was considered far too small to be used as evidence of the speed relative to the ether. Yeah, because it was such a small speed, 1,600 miles per hour, that doesn't explain going around the sun.
Yeah, you take somebody's temperature with a thermometer. It's not going to be precise. It's not going to be 98.6. It's going to be off a little bit, right? Instruments have tolerances.
Yeah, and they can figure out what those tolerances are.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Your question.
It was not significant. It was not significant.
Not when you're looking for 66,000 miles per hour. 1,400 miles per hour is not significant. You're absolutely right.
They were not looking for that. They're not measuring the speed of the Earth revolving around the sun.
That's exactly what measuring the speed through the ether would tell you if you're going around the sun. That's the speed that you'd be traveling. Well, it would be half. It'd be half of that, and then you double it to get the speed.
They're measuring the relative speed of each of the light in each arm of the interferometer. They weren't measuring the speed of the Earth.
Okay. They use that to deduce the speed. That's what they're saying. But let's go on to the next one.
They already knew that.
Yeah, that's why they were looking for that. That's why it's the world's most famous failed experiment.
They weren't looking for the revolution of the Earth.
They were looking for the speed through the ether, and if the speed through the ether should have equaled the speed around the sun. Otherwise, they can't use this as evidence of anything, because if they can't say we're traveling through the ether at less than the speed we travel around the sun, that wouldn't make any sense.
The arms are at 90 degrees.
I know what the arms are.
When they rotated it, there was no change.
Okay, let's go to the next one. That's our minute. Go ahead. Third question. Or
That's your turn. That was mine, I think, right?
No,
that was yours.
That was mine.
How does the flat Earth model explain the moon being upside down in the southern hemisphere?
Yes, I don't really know how you're at this point in debating and you haven't got this one yet. So if you were to take a piece of paper like I have here, and I were to write an A and a B on them, and then I stick it to the ceiling, if I'm on that side of the room, the A is on top, the B is on the bottom. If I go to that side of the room, the B is on top, the A is on the bottom. That's what the same thing we see on the moon. So they've convinced you that somebody's standing upside down, but really, if you think of the moon being above the tropic of, say above the equator, somebody in the south in Australia is going to look at it and see it upside down versus somebody in the north who looks at it and sees it, just like this piece of paper has an A and a B, and will be upside down for somebody on the other side of the room. They're not underneath me, they're not upside down, but they still see the piece of paper upside down. It's just a perspective issue.
Yeah, the moon is not an ellipse. It follows from your explanation that the moon would be an ellipse, and it is not. It is a round ball.
Okay, that's your presupposition about what the moon is?
It's not a presupposition.
Oh, okay.
It's a logical entailment from the fact that if you say that, well, it's like you pasting a piece of paper on the ceiling, well, then the moon must be an ellipse when seen from the southern hemisphere, but it isn't.
Yeah, and I don't see it that way. I think
not an evidence. That's a logical entailment.
Okay, we good? We ready to go on to claims?
No, so this is the part of the problem. You understand that's a logical entailment.
No.
Yes.
That because an item that is seen in one side of the room is upside down versus the other side of the room, that's can't happen logically, is what you're saying?
A circle placed on the ceiling and seen from an angle will be seen as an ellipse.
But I didn't say that the moon was a circle. I just said...
You don't think it's a circle?
I don't know what the moon is. I don't claim to know what the moon is.
You don't know what it is.
No, I don't know what it is.
No idea. You have no idea.
No, sorry. I don't have money to go up there and check. I don't have...
you don't have to. You can just look at it. You can see it. It has craters. Yes. It has mountains. It's round. It rotates.
Could be a projection of some type. It could be something that's displayed for us in a certain way. These are the things we're investigating. Just because I don't know exactly what it is, you would never know what it is if it wasn't for somebody who told you in a book and you memorized it and feel really smart because you repeat it.
Look at it. I can just look at it.
And you would know what? Would you know how?
That it is a round, solid object.
Would you know how far it is? You know, it's a solid object.
Yeah, it's a solid object. Yeah.
People can walk on it.
It has mountains.
So people can walk on mountains, and just because it has mountains on it, we can walk on it.
It has shadows.
Okay.
The shadows move.
I've seen them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not somebody who says that the moon isn't lit up by the sun, so I don't know what the moon is, but it could be lit by the sun. Certainly seems to coincide with it either energetically or by reflection.
So it's a round, solid object.
Okay.
Therefore, if you would place it on the ceiling, it would be seen as an ellipse. In answer to the question, it is not seen as an ellipse. That
Wouldn't you have to know the height of
it?
it to know that?
No.
So any circle, any sphere in the sky would appear as an ellipse to two people on a flat surface?
If you're saying that it's flat, a flat circle pasted onto the ceiling,
Well,
it must be.
I was giving you an
ellipse.
example. I was giving you an example because if you talk about the moon being a round ball and you say, well, the Earth is generally flat for a certain amount of distance, but two people on that flat section of Earth also see the moon both the same, right? They just see it flipped a little bit. It'll be a little bit alternated. Let's say we're barely 69 miles away from each other. Do those two people see the sun the same?
If the Earth was flat, people in different parts of the Earth would see a different moon.
A different moon?
Yeah.
Of the same one?
Different side. They'd see a different side of it.
Okay. Well,
some would see the back. Some would see the back of it.
No, not if it's pointed at the Earth. How would you see if it's pointed at the Earth, how would you see the back?
If it's a small local moon, following around in some ways behind the sun in the racetrack, yeah, people behind it would see the backside of it, and people in front would see the front. Everybody on Earth sees the same side of the moon.
Right.
Always. Therefore, it
wait.
can't be small and local.
So look at a light bulb that's maybe, let's say the light bulb is sitting sideways in a fixture on the ceiling. Everybody in the room would see the bottom half of the light bulb. They would not see the top half because the top half is pointed to the ceiling. So no matter where you're at in the bedroom, everybody would see the same bottom part of the light bulb. It's a 3D object. It's not a flat circle. It's not a flat thing in the sky. But we're moving on. You have to go to your,
Okay.
I'm going to go to my first claim. I've got 2 minutes to make a claim and back it by evidence. So my first claim is that NASA had occult beginnings. Okay. And I can show many things, but we can look at Jack Parsons, who is the originator with the suicide crew of JPL. He's been removed from history, tried to be erased from NASA's history because of his occult connections, because of his satanic rituals, his satanic practices. He used to pray to Satan before every launch of a rocket. He would try and have sex magic with various women to bring about the whore of Babylon. He ended up blowing himself up. But this was the father of rocketry. If you look up father of rocketry, they're going to tell you it's Jack Parsons, who was nothing more than a basic crazy person who got kicked out of school for blowing up toilets and lighting bombs and doing things like that. Second of all, we have Werner von Braun, who clearly was what many would consider a war criminal. I'm just going to play a quick portion of this so you can see. This is on Lefty. We're going to go with this section here I first want you to hear, great, this is Buzz Aldrin talking about it at 5:37. Let's see what he's got to say right here.
Create a person who really does great things for us, and then can we find something in his background?
This
and
part.
all of his employees, their families.
So I don't really put too much stock in those stories, and I'm certainly not that interested in delving into somebody's background. All sorts of things are done for a person's country by direction of those above.
Thanks. So Buzz wanted to point out that a lot of things are done by a person at the direction of their government, which they do because they have to, because the government told them to do it. Listen to this part.
It's important to remember in the case of von Braun, in the case of Rudolph, and
By the way, this is a member of the United States Justice Department. He's not a stranger. He's a prosecutor of the Justice Department.
others. We're not just talking about some men who worked for an evil regime. We're talking about men who themselves took part in Nazi crimes. This isn't just guilt by association. It's not just that some of them...
So we live in a country where we prosecuted half of these criminal doctors and scientists, and the other half we promoted and moved to the top of NASA and gave them head careers with Disney. And to me, NASA being deceive in Hebrew, NASA being 666 in reverse gematria are all signs that they've got occult beginnings, satanic connections, and should be immediately investigated for that. Okay, that was my 2 minutes. You get a minute to respond.
Yeah, don't care. It's a genetic fallacy. It doesn't make the Earth flat or round.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just guilt by association.
So you'd
Which
agree,
is-
though, then? You'd agree with my claim?
No, I simply don't care.
Oh.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with the shape of the Earth. It doesn't affect anything.
Okay.
I can just grant you, for the sake of argument, all of it. I can just grant it to you and say, yeah, it doesn't make the Earth flat. It doesn't make the Earth round. It doesn't have anything to do with it.
Nothing at all.
Yeah.
So if you found out that the school books that our children are being taught from were actually made by the Tavistock Institute, you wouldn't care.
Don't know what that is.
Tavistock is the institute that's responsible for mind control, MK Ultra, that all stuff. That's out. That's not a hidden thing. That's not a conspiracy. It's true.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't believe in Tavistock?
I don't care. I don't care.
You wouldn't care that your school children are learning from occultists or learning from Satanists? You wouldn't care?
It doesn't make what they write wrong. If a Satanist writes a book on arithmetic,
I mean, you are evidence of exactly the problem. This is why. Yeah, because what we should have done is people like this should be outed for their crimes. Yet, because you love space so much, you're willing to. You don't care about any of it.
No.
Yeah, you don't care.
I'm saying.
No, you don't care that how many murders von Braun was guilty of. You don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
It
shows you that your religion is awfully just like Christians. That they don't care about the murders in their book. They don't care about the atrocities caused by their religion. They just care that that's the same as your religion. You don't care about the atrocities that it took to get to where we are. Just you love that religion. So good for you.
Science is not a religion, right? And facts are true regardless of the character of the person who proposes them.
Yes.
Right? So if a Satanist writes an arithmetic book, and all of the arithmetic is correct, then it's still correct, even if he's in the Satanist.
So why does like MC Toon have a whole page on his website of listing all these flat earthers and all their crimes that they've done? What is that page for? If it doesn't matter what anybody's done in their life, all that matters is what they say. Why is he listing their crimes?
Well, you can ask him.
I was just asking.
Ask him why he has troubling Tribune and his rape allegations.
Right, allegations. Yes.
Well, he's in prison right now. Yeah, he admitted it. He confessed.
Through a faulty confession, I hear, yes. Or a coerced, in whatever you call it, coerced.
Yeah.
That's what he claims.
You can carry water for a rapist.
But
That's
again,
great.
so now, well, here's the problem, right? You're saying that it doesn't matter what these people did. All that matters is what they say. But now you're saying it does matter what he did. So
no, I
make
said
up your
you
mind.
can ask Mike what.
Well, but then you seem to know you have a pretty good touch on the situation.
I've read the page.
But it doesn't matter. Why would you read the page? Seems weird that you would even waste your time there, considering it doesn't matter. Only matters is what he's got to say. But all of a sudden, it matters when people are guilty of things, but not when it's the Globe Earth. The Globe Earth can get away with murder, but Flat Earth.
No, I think that there have been bad actors in the Globe community. Of course, there are.
Okay, that's it. That's time for that one. So you get to go with your claim.
There was a Glober who scammed some people out of money.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So yes, it doesn't make the Earth flat.
Okay, that's fine. You can go on believing people all you want that, in my mind, don't deserve to believe.
I don't think that the person's character determines facts. What determines facts is the evidence.
And what was the reason you were on?
Not whether or not Jim Parsons had sex orgies or not. I don't care.
But you do care if Troubling Tribune is accused of rape.
He's not accused. He confessed.
Okay, even the person the girl in the case is not even helping the state. She's not even in the case, so you don't even know.
His admission was that he pulled out.
Okay, you certainly know a lot of details about something that doesn't matter. Why?
I read it.
Why?
I read the document.
Why, if it doesn't matter?
Because I'm interested in the whole.
What you said, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't change the facts.
Okay, well, you're just
the Earth.
Two conflicting statements. Either it does matter and that's why you read about it, or it doesn't matter.
Not a conflict. There's no conflict. I've been very clear.
Have you read about Jack Parsons? Have you looked into Jack Parsons being?
Yes, I've heard about Jack Parsons.
But have you looked into it?
Ago.
You obviously went about looking into Troubling Tribune. Have you looked into Jack Parsons and all his connections to L. Ron Hubbard and all that stuff?
L. Ron Hubbard was another nasty character.
Yep, and part of the startings of NASA as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't make things, it doesn't
Okay.
change the facts on the ground.
Okay, good. Go. You're on your first question or your first claim.
My first claim. Switch pages here.
Do you need to share your screen? Let me know.
Yeah, reciprocal zenith angles add to greater than 180 degrees, which falsifies flat Earth. Right?
Yep, that one. Ready?
Let me see, where is that? There we go. Share, and there we go. So these plumb lines, I can, if you can see it.
Yes, good enough. Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. Yeah, these plumb lines, these lines are plumb. That means they're vertical. But when they are measured, this is a horizontal here and a horizontal here, the line of sight. When you measure from here to here, you get 94 degrees, not 90 degrees. When you measure from here to here, you get 94 degrees. And they add up to be greater than 180 degrees, which means they're not parallel. This cannot happen on a flat Earth. It can only happen on a sphere under the influence of gravity, right? So this doesn't prove that the Earth is a globe, but it falsifies flat Earth, because if the Earth was flat, these plumb lines would be parallel. They're not parallel, so the Earth is not flat. And we're done. We can all go home now. I've just falsified flat Earth. You can all roll up and go home because it's all done.
That's it?
Yeah.
Pack it
We're
in?
all done. I proved that the Earth is not flat.
Okay.
You can delete your channel.
Thank you.
Go
Yes,
home.
I'll be doing that right away.
There you go.
So is my turn now?
Yeah.
Okay, so hopefully people will start to recognize that there's a problem when people think like this, that they've debunked something or that they've falsified flat Earth, when they don't even understand what's going on. When they do reciprocal zenith angles, you have a person here who uses a plumb bob and they say, okay, I'm 90. And then this person uses a plumb bob over here and they go, okay, I'm 90. And then they use their little sight tool to look across here and they say, did this, let's say this is 5 feet tall, did this drop from my eye view? And they say, yes, it did. This is now lower than it was here. It's now lower to here. Then they assume, they then extrapolate that because it's lower means it's leaning. And then they calculate the zenith angle being different. This zenith angle would be different than this one, correct? Meaning that it's not 90 anymore. Now it's leaning, but they're not measured. They're never measured.
They never lean. They never lean. The plumb bobs don't lean ever.
No, but the one of across from you would. Meaning
no, it doesn't. It doesn't lean at all. That one is also straight up and down. It doesn't lean.
Right. So how are they calculating reciprocal zenith angles?
By determining the angle from zenith
that it's leaning.
To,
it's exactly
not leaning.
Then how are they measuring reciprocal zenith angles if they're 90 degrees all over?
The 90 degrees don't meet, right?
Let's look at my drawing here. My drawing here. Let's say this is all the way across the United States. It doesn't matter how far. If this person is 90 degrees with a plumb bob and this person's 90 degrees with a plumb bob, now you're saying that they measure reciprocal angles being different. How are they measuring this angle if this item is not leaning?
This whole thing has gone really small.
I'm gonna move it closer if I can.
Well, no, it minimized on me.
Usually you have to find a little. There's like a little floaty thing that you can hit to. All right, I'll just explain it. She's not supposed to interject. You get a minute after this to give your closing.
I understand what you're trying to say, though.
Yeah, that's what they do. Reciprocal zenith angles. They don't actually measure anything. What they're measuring, what they're talking about, is items dropping, and then they extrapolate the lean. So nobody.
No, there's no lean. There's no lean. It's straight up and down.
Okay, then
both you have A and B. You have Alice,
hold on. Hey, time out. You put yourself on mute. Give me 30 seconds, and then you get a whole minute to respond to Mike.
Sure, I can put myself. The application has
just
decided
click mute.
To minimize itself.
Usually there's a little button here. Let me stop sharing. That might help you. Or have you stop sharing? Screen share. Do you want to stop screen sharing? Did that help you come back? Did it bring it back? Maybe.
I suppose. I don't know.
Wait, why am I not?
Oh, okay.
View options. I don't see you now. You get. Oh, there you go.
There
You're
we
back.
go.
You're back. Okay. So just give me 30 seconds. We're on there anyway. So again, what I'm pointing out is that when you have two people measuring square and perpendicular, which is what they do at a plumb bob, and then one person is looking through his telescope at the other item and seeing how far it dropped. Based on how far it dropped, they then do the mathematics to figure out the reciprocal zenith angle, which again includes the belief or the presupposition that the Earth is curved. If you didn't have that presupposition, then you would not measure reciprocal zenith angles being off. You would measure them at 90 degrees everywhere, which
They
is
don't
what we do.
presuppose. They don't presuppose a curve. So
They
you
don't?
have a zenith. You
Okay,
have,
so
you're
you got a minute. Go ahead.
You're sitting at station A, right? And you've got your zenith, which you've established with, I think most of them use a bubble level, right? They establish that with a bubble level.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Yes?
Right. And so that's straight up and down.
Correct.
And then they measure 90 degrees from that, but the other station, station B, is below 90 degrees. How do you explain that? Why is the other
Wait, hold on. I thought you said they measured 90 there.
No, they measure 94 degrees.
How? Don't they just measure straight up? You said everything's square with a plumb bob.
It's from the straight. It's from the vertical to the other station, right? And it's more than 90 degrees to the other station.
Yeah, you don't even understand reciprocal zenith angles.
I do.
Okay, go ahead. Complete your you have 20 seconds.
Right. So both stations, when viewed from each point of view, are below each other. Station A is below station B, and station B is below station A when viewed from each respective point of view because of curvature. That's how curving works. And both of them have a 90 degrees that's vertical, that's straight up and down. That's because of gravity.
Okay, time.
I don't know how to explain that any better to you.
No, and it's not for me. It's for the audience because they can go look into it, see what reciprocal zenith angles are, and it has nothing to do with the Earth dropping in two locations at all. So let's go on with the next claim I'm going to make, which is, in regards to your appearance on my show at one time, I'll make the claim that on a ball Earth, two people 24 miles across from each other, if they were to pull a string, a straight line between them, that they would then have a hump between them of 96 feet.
Yeah.
That is the claim. That on a globe...
There's no hump. There's no
I'm
hump.
not done making my claim. Give me 30 seconds more. On a globe Earth... I'll just go to 30 seconds. On a globe Earth, there is a hump between two people because you take a circle and you draw a straight line between any two people, and what immediately happens is you're going to have a hump. Let me show you. In my last 15 seconds here, here's a circle. We have this circle. If we draw a straight line between two people that are across from each other on this Earth, for instance, like here, all of a sudden there is this item here. Now it doesn't matter that all along this. Hold on, I'm not done. All along this is 0%, is 0 feet elevation. That's what she's going to try and state right now. That this is zero elevation. Yeah, nobody's claiming that that's not true. This is at 0 feet elevation all the way along. However, when you draw a straight line between two people, this line here is called the sagitta or the chord or the hump. And it is a hump because this person standing here cannot see this person standing here because they are obstructed by the hump of the Earth. That's my claim. Go ahead.
Is the sagitta above the ground or below the ground?
The sagitta above the ground or below the ground? If you're talking about a line drawn between two people, it's above that line.
No, is it above the ground?
No, not if you're talking about between two people on the surface of the Earth.
So it's 96 feet in the ground.
From a straight line drawn between two people. Which if
the string could go through dirt
correct
and water,
always
it would be in the ground. It would be below the surface.
Correct. 24 miles, two people pulling the string would by necessity of the globe make it go underwater. 96 feet at the center.
Right. So is the statue above the ground or is it below the ground?
What statue?
The 96-foot tall statue that you pointed out in that one episode.
I'm showing it on the ground.
No, is it above? Is the top of the statue above or below the ground?
Above.
Right. So it has nothing to do with this.
No, because two people recognize what they see when they stand across from each other. And so you can put the statue in the middle and say, you two are standing on the two ends of the shore, 24 miles apart from each other, but you have a 96 foot tall statue in between you.
No, you don't. The statue is in the ground.
I don't think you understand this, Sajita. Why does Mick West's calculator give us a bulge or a hump height?
I don't know, and I don't care. It's not my claim.
Okay, well,
My claim is that my claim is there is no hump. A hump is a change in elevation, and we're presuming here we're ignoring topography.
Okay, a hump is a change in elevation, and if we draw a straight line between two people 24 miles apart, they have a hump 96 feet in their way.
No.
Okay, so tell me
There's no change in elevation.
Okay, so why can I not see somebody 24 miles away across the ocean?
Because the curvature is in the way.
But is that above or below the surface?
It is the surface.
Okay,
It's the surface.
so is the statue.
No, the statue is above the surface.
No, it is representative of the distance of the thing that's in between your eyes. That's why I can't see across the water, according to you.
The sagitta is below the surface. The statue
Okay, let me ask again.
The surface,
let me ask again.
The statue is above the surface.
Okay, let me ask again. If I can't see somebody across the ocean 24 miles away, what is blocking me?
The surface of the earth.
Why, if the surface of the earth is zero the whole way?
Because it's curving.
So curving goes up and blocks my eyes?
It doesn't go up.
Okay, so why is it blocking me?
Because it's curving away.
Right, so that's a hump. That's
not a hump.
What do you think?
A hump is a change in elevation. It never changes. The surface never changes in elevation. It's always zero.
Yeah, I know it's zero, but if it gets in the way of us seeing between two things, that's a hump.
That's not a hump.
So hold on, describe this to me. If I draw a straight line between you and me right now,
Yeah.
there's no hump between us?
Correct.
Then why wouldn't we be able to see each other?
Because the surface of the earth would be in the way.
That's the hump.
That's not a hump. It's not a change in elevation.
Okay. It is a change in elevation as per the straight line drawn between us two.
Well, the straight line is in the ground.
Yeah, nobody said it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a hump blocking any two people on Earth from seeing each other.
How can a negative hump block your vision?
When is there a negative hump?
Well, because it's in the ground. It's below zero.
But we're drawing a straight line between two people.
Yeah, the
Okay.
straight line is
This is
in
exactly,
the ground.
just so everybody knows, this is why I have these debates in structure in such a way. We would talk past this all night. This is something that would go on forever, and we'd just have an argument about something that you can decide for yourself. Somebody standing across the water 24 miles from you, pull a string tight between you two, there's a 94-foot hump in between you.
Yeah, I'm happy with this. I'm fine. I'm not triggered. I'm not upset.
Yes.
I'm fine with this.
Okay.
I'm fine with this.
You're on to your second claim,
My second.
I believe.
I think it's, the black swan is logically fallacious. That's my claim.
Okay.
Negating its claim to falsify the curvature of the earth. The black swan, let me see here, and let me share screen. Share. This is John's formulation. I assume it's official. It says if the earth is a sphere of the radius, and every horizon distance must be no more than 1.22 square root of the geometric horizon. This first premise is false. Therefore, the argument fails. It doesn't succeed because it's not true that every horizon distance must be no more than 1.22, right? We have a geometric horizon and we have apparent horizons, and they can be in different places. In fact, there are at least several horizons. There's a celestial horizon, a terrestrial horizon. There are landscapes, the horizon. There's a visual horizon. But the geometric horizon and the apparent horizon are different. The first premise equivocates. It commits the fallacy of equivocation. Therefore, John's argument is false. And in fact, I'm going to take it back. This argument is now mine. You can't have it anymore. Globebusters cannot have this argument anymore. It's mine. It belongs to me. It is not yours. Your argument is fallacious. and it does not prove what you claim it proves. It's mine. I took it from you.
Okay, is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you're talking about me specifically,
I was kind of talking to Globebuster John.
John's not a globebuster. So.
Ballbuster.
Ballbuster John. Yes.
John starts with ST.
Stunja.
Stungeon.
Yeah. Okay.
But a lot of flat earthers claim the black swan. I am formally taking away all flat earther rights to the black swan. The black swan now belongs to me.
Thank you for that.
It's mine, and you can't use
Thank you.
it.
Can you mute yourself, please, for a minute? Thanks. So
Sure thing.
the problem with that is that we can use anything that we want. I'll particularly use the black swan for what I think it's good for. Why do I like the black swan? Because the black swan proves without any shadow of a doubt that the horizon is not what the mathematics of the globe Earth tell us because of refraction, because of variable conditions, because of everything. The horizon is an apparent position. To make any claim with the horizon is fallacious. To say, oh, look, it bends, oh, look, it curves, oh, look, here it's flat, oh, look, here it does this, is to not pay attention to the definition of the word horizon and what it means, and that it's in an apparent position. It can never be pinpointed as the horizon is there or it's there unless you're going to use the mathematics, in which case you can say that the geometric horizon is so-and-so. That's what the black swan does, is shows that the geometric horizon is not at the distance that the mathematics of the globe Earth call for. That's what the black swan does. You have 1 minute. Final word.
Oh, well, the black swan is a specific logical type of argument, right? It says from the claim all swans are white, all you have to do to refute that is to produce one swan that is black. And I have shown that the claim black swan is a fallacious argument, and therefore it fails at falsifying the claim that all swans are white. Moreover, it equivocates. It sets up a straw man. It is not the case that all horizons must be 1.22 times the square root of, and so on, right? That is simply false. The argument is fallacious, and therefore it should be rejected. It belongs to me now. No flat earther can use this. It belongs to me.
Thank you. All finished?
And of course, I'm being a little bit dramatic.
You're having fun. That's fine. You're allowed to have fun. I'm not going to stop you. All right. Let's go with my third claim. Is going to be that globe earthers will not give up on arguments no matter what evidence is shown in their face. For the example of that one, I will continue to bring up the fact that globers think it's okay to take an image of any type and condense it, squish it, and then say, oh, sorry, I didn't set my clock. I'll stop a little bit early. Condense it, squish it, and say that that's evidence of curvature, which number one problem with that, again, is we've already said that the horizon is not in its position, it's in apparent position. So to claim by taking the horizon and squishing it to show curve is, again, taking something apparent and trying to make a sense of it. And then also your... I've taken and shown that known horizontal lines, either my granite countertop or lines in the garage flooring or the control joints, we know that those are straight lines. When we take a photograph of them and we put them into an editor, we can show that when condensed, show curvature. That alone refutes every single type of that evidence. And I find it embarrassing that globe earthers will continue, because once they make a claim, they feel like they are giving flat earth credence by ever going back on it. Even though the simple fact, if you can show horizontal lines, known horizontal lines, curve when condensed, then no amount of evidence ever supplanted or ever supplied showing anything curving when condensed can be considered evidence of curvature, since I debunk it by showing you one known horizontal line that when condensed shows curvature. So there's many claims like this throughout the globe that they will not back off of evidence, which is why some of us are just turning to or deciding to just ignore them completely, because how can we not be at a place where two human beings can agree that something becomes fallacious when I can show you horizontal lines, known horizontal lines, curving when condensed. Therefore, any line that you show me that curves when condensed means nothing to me, and yet it keeps being promulgated. It's still on MC Toon's website. Has not been pulled down yet. Is still being called evidence when it's not evidence. It's anything but. Go ahead. You have a minute? Sorry.
Yeah, I think you should take that up with him. I don't see how a horizontal line could curve once you condense it.
Because all images are taken with a lens that is spherical, and they all have distortion.
That doesn't affect it.
I don't know what to tell you. Why don't you go do it for yourself?
It
Take a
doesn't.
picture of a known horizontal line, then take it into
It's
an
not
image
how-
editor and bend it,
Yeah,
and you'll or compress it, and you'll see it has curve.
Yeah, that's not how lenses work.
Too bad I've shown it in every case I've ever shown.
No, what you showed is anti-aliasing.
Hmm?
What you showed was anti-aliasing.
I could take a picture right now of my computer screen, which is a horizontal top and horizontal bottom of my screen. And if I put it into an image editor and condense it, it will show they both have curves. Therefore, you can never
How
use
can a
that.
straight line have curves?
Because when you take a photograph of something, that you're not always lined up straight, you're not lined up. If you're not pixel for pixel, if you don't have the 40th pixel up on both sides being identical, then when you condense it, it will show curve.
That's not true. That
Oh,
doesn't
boy.
matter.
Okay.
They don't have to be
This is-
perfectly aligned like that. They
Th-
don't.
Let's think of a square image that we're looking at right now, and we think of
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
black, okay? But there's
The
one
frame-
green.
the
Hold on,
frame
there's one
that's-
green dot on one
Yeah,
side
the
and one
frame
green dot on the
that's
other.
around here, the frame that's around here.
Okay,
Yeah.
so think of two green dots on both sides of the picture. If they're not at the
Yeah.
exact same pixel height, when you condense it, they're going to show a curve. They have to get.
No, they won't.
I don't understand how you can ever think that. Okay,
I,
guys, you
yeah,
can try it
it's-
yourself.
it
Go take
won't.
a photograph.
It'll be angled. It'll be angled, but it won't be curved.
Okay, if it's identical, if you're talking about an identical straight horizontal line, then if you condense it, should show like a stair step. You're saying?
That's anti-aliasing. Do you know what anti-aliasing
I do.
is?
If you're talking about gaming, yes.
Yeah, that's in all graphic displays.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
so
but-
if one pixel is higher than the other, right, and then you condense it, there's not going to show curvature necessarily.
It will, but if there's a line between those two things, like in a photograph, if we're taking a horizontal line, then when you condense those, they show curve.
No, it would just be an angle. It would just be a line at an angle. A straight line is not necessarily horizontal.
What?
Straight lines can be at an angle.
Yeah,
Right?
okay. Sure, if you're not talking about the curvature of the Earth, we're talking about something else, I guess.
Straight lines can be at an angle.
Sure.
Yeah. That's what you're seeing in your examples. And you're claiming that it's curved, and it's not.
Even though, have you seen me do it?
I saw your debate with Mike MC Toon about that, and it was really embarrassing.
What was embarrassing about it? Go ahead.
It was embarrassing for you. It really was.
Okay, let me show you something, and you
Yeah.
can tell me how embarrassing this is for you. So this is just a picture I just grabbed off the internet. I don't even know. Oops. I did grab it off the internet. Come on. It's just a picture of a...
it's as embarrassing as we just talking now, and you're not able to figure out
Hold on.
what a hump is. What a hump is. You
Yeah, I
can't
have no
figure it
idea what a
out.
hump is, yeah. Do you see this picture of... Oh, let me bring it up easier for you to see. Do you see this picture of a
Yeah.
granite countertop here?
Yeah.
Okay, is this a straight line?
I don't know.
Well, so you think the people who made the countertop suck or what?
It might not be perfect. Let's say let's assume let's suppose that it is a straight line. Which
Okay.
line are you talking about again?
Doesn't
'Cause I
matter,
see
all the
kinds-
lines.
I see dozens of them.
Right. We see a straight line here. We see straight lines here. And we know by experience, by our life, that these are straight lines. We know that. Correct? So now I'm going to bring up an image editor.
Close to straight.
Okay. So now I'm bringing up an image editor, and we're going to go there and grab that. Come on. Sort by date. Okay, here's the grounded countertop. We are grabbing it. Whoops, you can't see it now. Over here. There you go. A little bigger. Okay, we're grabbing it with this, and we're just going to make sure, yeah, we're going to condense it this way.
Which of the many horizontal or nearly horizontal lines should I be looking at?
Let's just look at them all. Let's turn off this one and go here. So now we're grabbing this, and we're going to condense it. Let's see what happens to those lines that you say can't do anything but produce. Okay, so when we see things like this that are curved,
That's straight. That's straight.
What do you mean? Look at this countertop back here.
It's straight.
That's not a curve?
It's at an angle.
Okay, so do you understand that photographs of known horizontal lines create curves?
That's straight. That's straight. It might be, it's at an angle, but it's still straight.
What about this line here?
Where's the curve?
All over.
I don't know what that is.
This line
I don't
here.
know what that is. I'm looking at the middle.
Look at this line here. You're saying that's not curved?
It looks straight to me.
That's not curved?
Yes.
You can see
Yes.
it curved down.
No, I can't see it curved down.
If it was straight, you would have this color going this way the whole way.
anti-aliasing. It's hard to tell. It's anti-aliased.
So is there anything you can determine by these?
They're straight.
Okay. I don't know what to say. If you think all these lines are straight, I mean, this line right here even has
Yes.
curve.
That's straight. That's straight.
If you grab a...
Show the whole thing. Show the whole thing. That the bottom of yes.
Okay, let me grab a straight line
well, you
here.
don't have to. Yeah.
Okay, and we can see that it's not straight like you're saying. These things are, because of graphics.
Looks straight as far as I can. That looks straight to me.
That
There
one,
you go.
It's got
There you
color
go.
under
It's
here.
straight.
It's got curve.
Holy shit.
Look at that part. How is it not? How is there more under it now than there is above it? Look at.
Man.
But why is
Like
there?
I
If it's
said,
not
this is
curved, then
just
why is there color
embarrassing.
there?
This is just an embarrassment.
Yeah, because if it was straight, there wouldn't be color here. Yeah, it's an embarrassment because you guys continue to put out evidence that is not. Look at this curve here. You're telling me this isn't a curve? Is this line straight? Are we going to say that line straight too? If we put a pink line here and we go like this, you're going to see more black above the line than below it, just like we just did below.
Sure.
Okay, so
It looks a little bit curved.
All right, well, known horizontal lines curve when condensed.
I don't know that that's a horizontal. I don't know that that's.
Oh, now the
straight.
countertops are all not
Yes,
straight.
I don't know
Okay,
that.
Right,
And-
of course. Yeah, I get it. All right, let's move on. Is it my turn or yours?
okay. Is it my turn?
I don't know. Let me see. That was mine. Yes, yours.
Flat Earth can't explain the phases of the moon because every person on Earth should see a different phase of the moon. When the moon is up and it is like you see a half moon, people further rotated around on the flat Earth should see a quarter moon or a gibbous moon or a crescent moon. But in fact, everybody on Earth always sees the same phase of the moon, which is be impossible on a flat Earth, falsifying flat Earth, right? So on a flat disk Earth with the small local sun and moon, right? No two persons would see the same phase of the moon. People do see the same phase of the moon. Therefore, the Earth cannot be flat. And there you go.
Okay, and it's a little bit early. I'll just go
Yeah.
with the last minute.
We
there.
also see 55% of the surface of the moon.
Which
not
may be the
50%.
case from what we talked about. Somebody on the flat Earth being over here and somebody being over here, seeing a little bit more of the underside than the other person.
No, it's because of
Libation, yeah.
of libation. Yes,
Of course.
the moon doesn't perfectly sync up with the Earth in its rotation around the Earth.
Well, it does in the fact that we always see the same side.
No, that's it. We don't. We see part of the side that we can't see at other times.
Do we see the same part of the other side, meaning that it somehow comes back to where it was?
Yeah, it kind of wobbles over time.
And gravity calls for that?
No, it's caused by orbital mechanics. It's caused by the fact that its rotation about its axis is not perfectly synced up with the Earth, with its rotation around the Earth.
But it is
Right.
synced up in the fact that we have 11-year cycles, 18-year cycles, where they're exactly the same. 18 years later, that all syncs back up. So it's just for like a moment in time. It like gets out of sync and then gets back in sync.
Well, anyway, the lunar libation can't be explained by the flat Earth.
Okay. Well, they have it rocking, but again, if you have people on different ends of the Earth and they're looking up at something, then you could see a little bit more on one side than you can the other side, and then you could call it
but they never
libation.
Yeah, but they never see that.
We do see that.
People don't see the dark side of the moon.
I thought you said
the
we
other
see
side.
5% of it.
Yeah, that's 5%.
Okay, so just like a light bulb sitting on the top of my ceiling that was sitting sideways, if everybody went around the room, we'd probably see 55% of that light bulb, not 50%.
No,
Yeah, because me on this side, I could see a little bit more of this side, and somebody on that side could see a little bit more of the other underside, and so we can see 55% total.
Lunar libration is for everybody on Earth at the same time. It's not something that different people at different places can see. If this moon was small and local, then different people at the same time could see different sides of the Earth.
I got you. I see what you're saying. You're saying on a full moon, somebody on one side of the Earth and somebody on the other side of the Earth are only going to see the exact spread of the moon.
They would see a half moon. During a full moon,
it's pointing down at the Earth.
During a full moon, one person sees a full moon. Somebody way on another side of the Earth from that would see, for instance, maybe a half moon. That never happens.
Okay. I don't know why we wouldn't just both see the full moon.
Because that's how objects work.
Yeah, objects that are spheres and sphere Earth and things like that. But if it's looking down at the Earth, then everybody would see the same thing.
Looking down.
It's pointed at the Earth.
It's not looking down.
Yes, that's how it's pointed at the Earth. But we see everything in an azimuthal grid of vision. So everything comes to us as if we're looking at a dome.
Even if it's I don't know what you mean by pointed down. I mean, I don't know how spheres can point down.
The side with the light faces us, pointed down.
All of the moon gets illuminated at one time, and the moon doesn't.
Yeah, I know you're not telling me anything.
The moon doesn't emit light.
Thank you.
It reflects the light.
Thank you. Okay, who's up? Me?
That's true. It's not. I think we're all done.
No, I got one more. I think. Don't you have one more?
Oh, I do not. I'm done.
That's 4.
Yeah, and you did the.
Hold on, I didn't do the vacuum of space one. Let me see what we missed here.
You missed that one. Yes, you did.
Yeah, well, which one did you miss?
I don't think I did.
Well, if I go first and I have one more, then you should have one more after me. Let me check our.
Oh, I missed the observers in the southern hemisphere don't see.
Okay, so let me get my last one, then you get your last one. So my final one is there we go. My claim is that the vacuum of space doesn't exist, as we're told. It doesn't describe what we see. It doesn't ever describe what we find in experiments. For example, in space, they tell us that it's filled with gas giants, gas planets, gas suns. And yet, here on Earth, we know that if we take a helium balloon up, that because the gas is not being held in with pressure anymore, it's trying to get out. It's trying to get away from the balloon. When it gets to a certain height, it pops and fills the available space. That's what gas does. Now we're told sometimes if you put enough gas into this balloon magically that we've never seen and put it up in the sky and it's a really big gas balloon, well, eventually the gas says, you know what? Even though we usually expand into space, tonight we're going to instead pull everything to the center. We're just going to switch because normally, yeah, we do try and get out of the balloon as fast as we can. We do pop and go into space in every direction. But because some guys with white coats tell us that the opposite happens, we better believe it, even though it's never been shown in any experiment or example. The other question I have is whether even gas can attract gas, or even if you would consider that mass attracting mass, since it doesn't happen. And another way that we can say the vacuum of space doesn't exist is, as we've said, their claim to why it does exist is gravity. But we know that if we take a box inside of a evacuated chamber, and in that box is air, and we electronically open the box in the vacuum, that all the air will fill the available space. If what the globe says is true, which is gravity is holding all of the air on Earth to the surface, then gravity can surely hold a little tiny box of air, but it cannot. Why? Because that air sits next to a vacuum, and the vacuum will need to equalize, hence the balloon or pops or the box opens and the gas goes in to fill the available space. Therefore, if gravity isn't enough to hold the small box of air, it cannot hold the large box of air that's called this, our atmosphere. And you don't have a container anyway, at which point you are just dead in the water. Go ahead, do you have a minute?
Yeah, there's no law of nature that says that gas must fill an empty space. There is no such law. It just doesn't exist. Right? So we observe gas collapsing and forming stars.
When?
Where?
Well, sorry.
The Horsehead Nebula is a star nursery, right? We observe stars being born. we observe gas collapsing under the influence of gravity and forming stars and even solar systems. This is how gas works. The fact that the gravity on Earth is not strong enough to hold gas inside of a cardboard box is not relevant. If the gravity was strong enough, it would hold it in the cardboard box. It wouldn't leave. What the problem is that under the influence of gravity, it takes energy to leave the surface of the Earth, right? It takes energy to leave a box. That's why water doesn't jump out of a glass of water, because it takes energy for it to achieve increase the distance between it and the center of the Earth. So that's why the air in the Earth doesn't leave. It's because it takes energy for it to leave, and it doesn't have enough.
Okay, so anytime there is a pressure differential, pressure equalizes. That is a fact of nature. It does not need to be a law.
No, it's not. It's not a fact of nature.
It causes all wind. It causes all weather. It causes everything. Pressure differential. So somebody can just claim, they can just say, but it doesn't really change the fact that we have pressure differentials, which always must be equalized, meaning that if you have pressure here and no pressure here, they equalize every time. So if it's not a law, then show me it not happening. And the only thing she'll be able to say is the atmosphere of the Earth. They go to use as a definition, or as to use for evidence of their claims, they just claim the thing that we're actually just researching. We're researching the Earth, so you can't use that as your example, but that's the only one they've got because they can't reproduce it. So she says things like, this is how gas works, yet they cannot show it. They cannot show it in any experiment.
Yes, we can.
Okay. How do you?
Gas has mass. It has weight.
Okay, so you can show it attracting things to its center. If I blow a puff of smoke, right now, there'll be things from the outside that will come attached to the smoke.
In the Horsehead Nebula, we can observe stars.
How do you know what gases are there?
They have instruments that can tell you what gases are there.
How far away is the Horsehead Nebula?
I don't know.
Probably some 100, 200, 300 trillion miles.
But it's in an area where it's not influenced by the gravity of the Earth. You know, your smoke from your cigar is going to be influenced by the gravity of the Earth. It's not going to be collapsing in on itself.
Okay, so now picture this. Hold on.
Because the Earth is stronger. Because the Earth is stronger.
Right. So if I smoked a cigarette in that little box inside the vacuum chamber that we talked about, and we open the lid, the smoke will immediately fill the vacuum. You just said.
Is this on Earth, or is this?
Yeah, it's on Earth. It's on the surface of Earth.
Oh well, the gravity of Earth isn't strong enough to hold it in there.
At the surface of Earth, the gravity isn't enough. Then why is all the atmosphere here?
Because it isn't. It doesn't have enough energy to leave the Earth.
It needs to equalize with the vacuum.
No, it doesn't. There's no law that says gas has to equalize with the vacuum.
Okay, gases don't have to equalize then.
There's no law that says it must.
Okay. Thank you for that. Okay, you got your last one.
Oh, my last one.
You have 2 minutes.
It was observers in the South Hemisphere see Sigma Octantis, and they cannot see Polaris, right? The very fact that there is a South Pole and a North Pole falsifies flat Earth. Because if the Earth was flat, there would only be one pole, and all stars would be visible to everybody on Earth. But there are stars that are not visible to everybody. Some people can see the Southern Cross, and some people can't. I here in Minnesota cannot see Sigma Octantis or the Southern Cross. I can't see the Southern Pole because the Earth is in the way, and they can't see. In the Southern Hemisphere, they can't see Polaris because the Earth is in the way. This would be impossible on a flat Earth. Thus, it falsifies flat Earth. I'm done.
Okay, have you ever been into a Home Depot? My answer, but my guess would be yes, you have.
I've been into large.
Okay.
Yeah,
Lowe's, Home
something-
Depot.
Yeah,
Okay,
something
large.
like that. Yeah.
Okay, so now picture that is a 5-mile wide store, huge store. It's 5 miles in every direction. It's the biggest
Yep.
store ever made. Okay, would there be people at one end of the store that would have lights above them that cannot be seen from the other end of the store?
No,
Okay, you don't understand how things work.
that's how things work.
No, they don't.
Anybody, if you have a rectangular building with lights hanging from the ceiling,
Correct.
every person inside of that building can see every light hanging from the ceiling.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to think of how ridiculous that statement is. That's like saying that we can look down a row of streetlights and see for all the streetlights forever. Of course you wouldn't be able to see that.
No, of course not, because they disappear over the horizon.
That's what you're told, and that's what you teach, and that's
not
what you tell.
I'm told. That's what I see.
It's not what you see. You don't see that.
Yeah, it
Show
is.
me streetlights going over the horizon.
I see obstruction. I see obstruction.
Yeah, the hump. Show me streetlights going over the...
Perspective is not obstruction. Perspective has nothing to do with the curve of the earth.
Perspective is
a
exactly
red
what they
herring.
stole.
It's a red herring.
Sure, of course you're going to call it that because we are claiming that you stole it and call it curvature. That's the exact claim.
No. It's a logical argument. All observers inside of your very large Home Depot would be able to see every single light hanging from the ceiling.
There's tunnels that are a mile long that you can't see the end of the tunnel. You can't see the light at the end of the tunnel because a mile, the roof hits the floor before the end of the mile.
I'm talking about the lights hanging from the...
Okay, so it's no different than thinking of a tunnel. If in a tunnel and in 1 mile you can't see the other end of the tunnel, you can't see light at the other end of the tunnel, how are you going to see a light hanging from the ceiling?
If there's a light there, I can see it.
No, you cannot. It would actually be
Yes, I
dark.
can. I need a telescope. I might need a telescope, but I could still see it.
Oh, so why would you need a telescope?
To increase the light gathering ability, because my eyes are not...
So maybe you wouldn't be able to see the
enough.
light.
My ability, my instruments, my eyes
Yes.
are not what's important here.
Oh,
It's not the point.
so what's the
Right.
point?
The point is that it would be above. Every single observer would be able to see.
What if it was a
the
100-mile Home Depot?
Yeah, every observer would be able to see those lights.
Okay, so let's move on to the closing. I guess I got to go first on this one.
Sure.
So again, with this debate, 2 minutes. So what this debate should show you is that we've got somebody that clearly is just unable to see the world for what it is, and they see the world as they've been taught, and then they cycle everything through that. Flat earthers have one benefit to them, and that's that we've already come out of that belief. We understand that belief. We were there. We believed it as well. But now we're able to see it for its fallacious nature. One of those things is this idea that we can see forever, simply because some guys who believe in no God and think that they're really important tell you that they can look through a telescope and see back in time. And we're like, yeah, you can. You can see back in time. I'm talking. Yeah. So this is a charlatan. This is what Carl Sagan warned when he says that we can become too in love with the lie. And when you do, you allow any charlatan to come along and take you for granted, or take your mind and just waste it, because you become too in love with the lie. And why do I mean too in love? Well, example of that would be in the 1970s, we had Pan Am booking flights to the moon. In the 1980s, we were told we were going to Mars. In the 1990s, we're going back to the moon. In the 2000s, we're going to Mars. In the 2010s, we're going back to... It's this constant kicking of the can down the road. You would think eventually people, any normal human being, would be like, all right, enough's enough. You guys promised enough. But instead, we have people coming to me asking me, well, what do you got to say about Jeff Bezos and putting people up? It's like, so now these guys are so in love with the lie that they accept the fact that we take people and throw them as high as we can in the sky and let them float down. It's not orbiting. It's not in space. It's nothing like that. It's simply throw them up as high as we can and let them fall down with little wings so that they float and get 0G. And look at these people come, well, what are you going to say about it now? What are you going to say? They're so in love that they'll call. I mean, if you put a helmet on them and put some glow-in-the-dark stars in front of them, they'd probably be okay with that. You just be like, it is space, I swear. And they'd be like, yeah, what do you got to say about that helmet that we can wear? We see stars. It's like whatever it is that says the globe, they'll just be like, yeah, that's got to be fact. So it's embarrassing to me to see this kind of debate. I think there's several things that have been pointed out that, again, Brenda refuses to see. Brenda, you got 2 minutes.
I thought this was a good debate. I appreciate it. Thank you. I think things went extremely well. I'm not embarrassed at all about any part of this. I have no problems with it. I didn't come in expecting to change your mind or to change anybody else's mind, but there will be people who will see this, and perhaps their minds will be changed, or they will be influenced to a certain degree.
All right, Ranty,
Right?
welcome back. Oh, sorry, just kidding. Go ahead.
Yeah. So there will be people who, and the main point is that facts are not determined by men, and Jeran seems to think that governments can determine what's true, and they can't, right? The Earth is a globe, even if everybody says it's flat, because that's just how objective facts work, right? And as of yet, we still have no map, no measurements, no evidence whatsoever, not one single shred of evidence for the flat Earth. We still wait here in the globe community for a flat earther to give us one shred of evidence, positive evidence for the flat Earth. You can't just argue against the globe. You have to present positive evidence for your claims. And so far, Flat Earth has failed to do that. They engage in sophistry and retreat into enclaves, into echo chambers on Discord and other places, and don't allow any criticism. And so I appreciate Jeran allowing Globers to come in here. I think that's great. I'm very happy with this. This is.
Let me just.
I'm very grateful, Jeran.
You're welcome.
That you did this. It's good on you.
Well, I think that it's okay. I have no fear of hearing the other side. Some people do, but I don't have a fear of hearing the other side or letting them talk. I think sometimes they hang themselves. But just to fix what you said there, and this is why I feel differently about it, is when somebody's lied to, you have to give them some leeway. What I mean by that is they're not playing by the same rules that the world thinks that everybody's playing by. Meaning, if we are lied to about the shape of the Earth, then you have to allow flat earthers to kind of suss through that. Like what you're saying is that we have to know how everything works perfectly, even though we were lied to, which is insane. It's insane to think that. One example would be, and we've used this before, if I'm rifling through my parents' drawers and I find an adoption certificate and it says Jeran Campanella is adopted on this date and this time and it's signed by both my parents, and I'm like, what the hell? Here's evidence that I was lied to. My parents aren't my real parents. If I came and told you, Brenda, here, look at this document. This shows that I was adopted. Actually, it's my parents aren't even my real parents. Imagine you saying to me, then Jeran, who are your real parents? You can't just come here and argue against your parents. You must provide your real parents. And I told you, no, I don't know who my real parents are. I'm pointing out to you that I was lied to and I have evidence of it. And you would say, I don't care. I'm not listening to your evidence. It doesn't matter unless you tell me who your real parents are.
But you failed to do that. You failed to produce the paper.
Okay, well, that's different than what you said. It's different than what you said.
Yeah, you failed to produce one single argument that is even valid or sound.
That's always your stance. All right, let's read the super chats. I was in Lake Michigan last weekend. It's not a mirage, says LJ. We've got LJ who says, would Brenda ever get on a 17K mile per hour roller coaster? Brenda, would you do that?
I would get on the ISS.
Okay. She would strap herself into the ropes and be on the ISS.
I would beg to go to Mars.
Wow.
I think that would be fabulous.
So have you ever taken a 15-hour flight?
Well, it's going to be more than 15 hours.
Yeah, no, but have you taken a 15-hour flight?
I have not. No.
What's the longest flight you've taken?
Jesus, it was like I was in grade school. I don't remember.
Oh, but you might remember it was miserable. People get off the flight. In a 15-hour flight, people get off the flight, they want to fight each other. They look like shit. They look like they're sick. They look like hell. And yet people think they're going to fly for months with Elon Musk and do science experiments. Sounds fun.
I don't remember feeling like that. I haven't flown in years and years. I flew once from Minneapolis to Washington, D.C., to check in with my CIA overlords. but
All right,
that was a
enough of your
long
jokes.
time ago.
By the way, did you guys notice that we did end exactly on time? 90 minutes, 7:30. I have to figure out how I'm going to do the
good
super
for
chats
you,
in there.
good for
Well, yeah, but we got it super chats. I want to get it done in 90 minutes total. Anyway, I let you go a little bit first sometimes, and I was kind of all over the place. The firmament is a snow globe, according to Geocentric Sense. We've got Cornfed says, following the same logic, I've seen Bigfoot. It 100% exists. We know it's humanoid, hairy. I know a handful of people that have met one, and I say they're trustworthy. Therefore, you have to believe them. We've got Claptrapism. Thank you, Claptrap. $20 says, hi, Brenda. Hope your week is going well. Why does the North get cold for winter when the Earth is millions of miles closer to the sun?
Because it's tilted towards away from the sun, increasing the area that is illuminated by the sun, and therefore decreasing the amount of energy that the ground absorbs from the sun.
Okay. We've got Callaway Crusher says, can we get a standing ovation for Jeran? Great work, man. I thank you. I appreciate that.
Sure. Yeah. I applaud you. I applaud you, Jeran. This is
Thanks.
great. Do more. Do more, please.
We will. Should be every Tuesday at 6. Hopefully we don't get any more or no shows or late scratches because we'll see what happens. Miss Black Swan, do ships disappear over the hump when they sail away? How high do we need to go to see a hump in the horizon?
Yeah, there is no hump.
So it's flat.
However, you can bring a ship back over the horizon by increasing your altitude.
But no hump.
There's no humps. No.
Okay. Landry, $10 says, Brenda, more like Brendum. That's nice. Claptrap says, star trails in the north make a neat little circle in time lapse. Can people in the south point and make a circle star trail?
Yeah, there's two points of rotation. Can't happen on a flat Earth.
Did I hear you say too that people see Sigma Octantis? Nobody sees it with their eyes, right?
It's Wikipedia says it's visible just barely with the naked eye.
So really not many, like instead of everybody, it's like very few.
I don't know. It's
less than 1% of people
visible.
that have ever existed have seen it.
Doesn't seem like a major issue to
Yeah,
me.
just asking, just because you did say everybody sees
very
Sigma
faint.
Octantis.
It's supposed to be very faint, but I've never seen it. No, I've never been south
Me neither.
of the equator.
But I think even people south of the equator, less than 1% have seen it. So it's a weird thing to say everybody's seen it when it's less than 1%. It seems like
everybody could see it.
If what? If they got a telescope and...
Yeah.
Okay.
No telescope will let you see it from here, from Minnesota.
No. A. Louise Mac, thank you very much for the 50 gifted memberships. That's the most ever. Wow, I've never even seen that.
Oh, that's amazing.
That is really amazing. Thank you so much. I don't know what to say. That's huge. Let me go to... Oh, we got a good amount of viewers too, 662. Let me just check Rockfin for there being
600?
any tips. Yeah, it's about double.
That's a large number for you.
Yeah, I used to do that many, but now it's been like 350 or 400 mostly.
See, I bring all the boys into the yard.
Oh boy, let's not get into this. Adam tipped $50. I think we're all going to be a little dumber after this. It's obviously flat. I'm glad I don't pay for cable. This is entertainment. Bert C, thank you very much for the tip. Noah Garcia, another day, another $1 for you. Thank you very much, Noah. And Attila Power, $2. Thank you guys very much. All right, so this show will be on Tuesdays at 6. Again, go to jeranism.com/debate if you want to either submit your name and say, hey, I'm willing to debate this topic, and then I'll try and look for somebody for you. Or there's even a list of people's names that are already looking for debates there. Or you can reach me at Telegram, t.me/jeranism. That's what Brenda did. Brenda reached out on Telegram, got a hold of me. She didn't even know how to use it. Now she does. And was able to get lined up. It's easier to communicate, way better than email, quicker,
if you say so.
Efficient. Well, email, a conversation like we had would have taken how many back and forths? I don't have time to sit on my email waiting. So anyway, guys, it's been fun. If you have any suggestions for the show, put them in the comments, please. If you think one part's too long, too short, maybe we need less questions, more claims, more time for the claim to be made, whatever it is. I want to try and keep the show to an hour and a half. I think it's digestible that way. And you get to hear both sides make claims backed by evidence and decide for yourself which ones match your worldview. All right, much love. We will listen to, I don't know, what are we going to listen to? The Jeran song on the way out here? Probably. I have nothing else since they... You know what they did, Brenda? This company that gave out their music for free 3 years ago, they said, oh, take our music. No attribution needed. No. I was like, great. I liked one of the songs. They waited 3 years, and then they copyright claimed all their music. So all
That
of my
sucks.
yeah, so all my outros are now copyright claimed. I can't play any.
Well, there's one thing I'll say about Flat Earthers. There are a lot of creatives in Flat Earth, and you should be able to find somebody that could, or you could make something.
Yeah, but I like, a good catch. My music used to be catchy, that song at the end. What are you going to do? Can't win them all. But yeah, so anyway, I have to find a new outro song. And I do have the intro for this one.
This microphone.
Sorry. This, what did I say now? I lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah.
Who's that Issa guy? What's his name? Issa?
Don't know him. Issa?
Oh.
ESA?
Yeah. Yes.
There used to be a guy who owned a
ISA, I think.
Oh, is the same guy that used to own the forum?
I don't know.
No, I know there used to be a guy who owned a forum, but that's all I know. I thought his name was something like that. Why, would you see him or something?
He's a very talented musician.
Oh, well, there's lots of talented musicians for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Well, it's been fun. We can hopefully do it again sometime. Hopefully it's somebody else instead of me. But let me get this up for you. Where is this? Here we go. Sorry, it's taking me forever to get my closing song on here. Here we go. All right, guys. Be kind to each other. No, that's the wrong show. Do your own research. When you do, you'll never again believe all the BS you've been taught. Till next time. Peace.
I know this dude named Jeran and he's looking real fine. And no, I'm not a homo, but I gotta try to make him mine. Cause he holds all of the secrets that the ancients once kept. But the way to Jeran's heart is proving you have once leapt from a volcano or a cliff or an airplane into danger without fear, crying, screaming, waking babies in their mangers. He can smell your fear from 1,000 miles away. And if you try to deceive him, well, today's your last day. You can bet he doesn't want a coward or a liar coming up to him saying, can you be my friend? Maybe you can man it up and lay it down in front of him, show him you're strong enough to go out on a limb. He's got enough ladies lining number on the block to fill 747's loading number on the clock. A lot of men are crying every single day, praying for a Jeran day, but they can afford the price to pay. All the women want him and all dudes want to be Jeran, but the fact of the matter is, there's only one Jeran. He's got an internet following that forms a giant group. He can translate ancient tablets using alphabet soup, which he rarely even does, though it fetches big money. He doesn't even need it cause he sweats pure honey. His fans send him gifts, make him gifs, jump off cliffs, just for the once in a lifetime honor of seeing Jeran take a sip of his famous oat stew. That's right, he's a stew chef. You may say, what's a stew chef? Well, you probably never seen a stew chef cause there's only one stew chef and it's Jeran cooking it up. He's known for only filling friends and family's cups with his decadent sludge that he boils all night, every night, all night, every night. It's out of sight. He can do a dance that makes everybody pee their pants and make a mess and cause stress. He's on a mission with the Jerry Berry Blitz and the Jerry Berry Twist. He's riling up the world. You can do the Jerry Berry Blitz and the Jerry Berry Twist. You can imitate the best just like the rest. Come on, Jeran, show the world what you got now. He's gonna show you his dance. He's gonna show you his skills. His dancing skills. Check him out, y'all. Jeran's powers grow with every fight, and every fight that he fights, he destroys his opponent and leaves a sticky mess on the ground. He wages war when provoked, and when provoked, he starts to smoke out of his butthole, and that's when you run away or die. Cities topple, buildings fall, mountains melt, and rivers stall when Jeran says so, cause he does what he wants when he wants. Sovereign nations all bow down when Jeran comes around. They know they can't match his skills, yeah, they've all heard this song. He's lived for thousands of years and caused innumerable tears and broken so many hearts, I just don't know where to start. His flow's unbreakable, swagger unshakable, his style's impeccable, and you can't do anything when he competes at Pizza Prize Bowl. Girls want to marry him, but a mate would only slow him down. And besides, you know that he would never ever share his crown. He's left everyone he's met depressed, torn up, and so forlorn. What's scary is you haven't even seen his final form.